What's going on in Mannell Sports? Back with another video. In this video, I'm going to be going over the Toronto Maple Leafs potential lineup that I could see happening on opening night, which is a week and a half away, as well as the re-signing of Sheldon Keefe, as he will be back for another 2 years after the season as the Toronto Maple Leafs head coach. And let's start off with that news right there. Sheldon Keefe. Now, he has been re-signed, but if the Toronto Maple Leafs fail to at least make it to the second round, probably even get out of the second round, I don't think Keefe comes back. I think he gets fired, and I think that's with a lot of staff and potentially players might be out of here. So, I mean, I like Keefe as he's a good coach, but if the Toronto Maple Leafs can't win, I don't think that this is going to mean anything. So obviously interesting that they re-signed him, but like I said, they gotta perform, or else he will probably be out the door. But let's get into the potential lineups I could see on opening night. Now, for the Toronto Maple Leafs, there's a lot of lineup combinations I can see happening, but it's just so difficult because there's so many players for the Toronto Maple Leafs in their forward core that could and should be making the roster that might not make it. Because there's just better players than them, and that's really, really good for a hockey team when you have that much competition. Nikita Gusev, he might not make the team. A guy like Curtis Gabriel, same goes for him. He may not make this hockey team. There's a lot of guys that. Same thing with Adam Brooks. I mean, he made the team last year because of the taxi squad. So this year you got to take into account that you can't carry as many guys. So right off the bat, I could see a lot happen, but I could see a trade for the Toronto Maple Leafs that has Ilya Mikheyev or Pierre Engvall being traded. I mean, these are two guys that combined for $2.9 million. They're guys that you don't want to say replaceable, but there's guys in this organization that can go in and fill in for them. Gusev can fill in for them. A guy like Joey Anderson could fill in for them, and Curtis Gabriel, he can fill in for them. So there's a lot of things that the Leafs could do. So I think it's definitely a good thing that they have all these competitions. It just sucks that a guy like Nikita Gusev, may not make this team. But for the sake of this, I'm going to say that there is no trade, and with the roster right now, I'm going to be saying who I think will make the team and what I think the lineups will look like on the Leafs opener. Okay, starting off with the forward core. For the first line, I see Nick Ritchie, Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner. This is a line that I think could be really, really good. I think Ritchie could come in as that guy that kind of replaces Zach Hyman, and he brings a little bit more physicality, than Zach Hyman did. And I think it could really benefit for Matthews and Marner. So I think that's a very, very good top line. As for the second line, I think Michael Bunting, is on the left side of John Tavares and William Nylander. Bunting in 2 preseason games has 4 goals. He's a guy that the Leafs brought in on a 2-year deal worth $1.9 million. I could see Bunting and Ritchie. I think they're both going to make the top 6 for the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think Bunting brings a good aspect to hockey. I think he's a guy who could grind for pucks, use his physicality, get under a guy's skin, and he has that scoring touch. So I really like Michael Bunting beside John Tavares and William Nylander. As for the third line, this could be one of the best third lines in hockey. I could see Alex Kerfoot, David Kampf, and Andre Kasha as the Leafs' third line. Kampf and Kasha look like just terrific hockey players, especially together. It just looks really good. These are 2 guys that are kind of shut down guys, and they could score. So I really like the combination of those 2 guys together, and I think with Kerfoot on the left side, he's a guy who could skate. He's got some speed, so I like that. I really, really like that as a third line for the Toronto Maple Leafs. And then as a fourth line, Jason Spezza as the center, Wayne Simmons on his right side, and Ilya Mikheyev on his left side. This is a line where I think they, could bring. I guess you could say, yeah, they have speed. Mikheyev's a fast player. Simmons brings, some physical hockey, can lay down some big hits. And then Jason Spezza, he's a guy who could score some goals. So I think that would be a very, very good fourth line for the Leafs. So that is leaving out Curtis Gabriel, Pierre Engvall, Nikita Gusev, Nick Robertson, like all those guys. And then the Leafs would have to figure out what they could do with those players. Nikita Gusev's a guy that if he doesn't make the roster, he's not going to be on the Leafs because he will be picked up by another NHL team because of how good of a player he is, and he's going to want to prove himself this year. And I think he's going to have a great season. It just may not be with the Toronto Maple Leafs, which is unfortunate for, as a Leaf fan, I would love to have him on, the Leafs. So it just sucks that he could be elsewhere this season. As for the defensive pairings for the Leafs, they of course lost Zach Bogosian this offseason, which was a tough loss as he went back to the Tampa Bay Lightning. So Rasmus Sandin's a guy who's going to have to step in on a nightly basis. I don't know how, that's going to end up. I think he's a guy who, you're going to see a lot of good and bad from him because of how young he is. I still don't think he's ready to be in the lineup on a nightly basis, but the Leafs are going to try it out, it seems like. And it looks like he's going to be on the third pairing with Travis Dermott. He'll be on the left side of Dermott. Muzzin and Hull will be the second pairing. Muzzin will be on the left side. Hull will be on the right side. And then the first pairing, the top pairing, Riley on Brody's left side. So, a lot of similarity to what we saw last season. A lot of, similar combinations, which is good because they have chemistry and, I think that could be a good thing for the defensive pairings. And then a guy who I could see rotating in and out is Brendan Mannell, a guy who the Leafs used a conditional 7th on in a trade with the Minnesota Wild. He's a guy who could potentially come in and out of the lineup. Carl Dahlstrom looks pretty good, in my opinion, in the preseason, but it is preseason. But these two guys are going to be in the organization. I don't think you really have to worry about one of them getting picked up on waivers. So interesting to see what's going to happen with the lineup players. And then as for the goaltending situation, Peter Mrazek and Jack Campbell, in my opinion, should get a fair split in net. But if I had to choose who is going out on opening night, I would say Jack Campbell. I feel like, since it's against Montreal, I feel like he has a lot to prove. And we know because it's a back-to-back, it's going to be one then the next. And I think, like I said, I think it's going to be a pretty fair 50-50 split. So I personally would send out Jack Campbell to play against Montreal in the season opener at home, and then Peter Mrazek in Ottawa the following night. But we'll see what Sheldon Keefe decides to do. You guys let me know what you think down below in the comment section. What do you think the Leafs opening night roster and lineup could look like? Let me know down below in the comment section. As always, please leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. We'll see you guys all in the next video.